Jesus. My alarm blares into my ears, only to be swiftly silenced by my fist. He is pissed. My body switches into auto mode, carrying my subconscious self out of bed and into my school uniform. As always, my bottle of pills sits on my desk patiently, waiting for me to take them out and pick my daily dosage of medicine. 17 pills a day. It's crazy. Before I know it, I'm opening the door to class 3-3, glad to see that I'm not the only one who seems to be a little hungover from festival week. Every face in the classroom looks gaunt. With the festival now over, it's as if everyone's life dreams have been achieved. With nothing left to live for, Jesus Christ, the students had relied on the instincts alone to guide them to class. Maybe I'm just reading too much into it. I slowly make my way to my seat, and it's only then that I realize why the room is so peaceful. The seats beside me are blissfully empty. The world's loudest interpreter for the deaf has yet to arrive. Okay, just as I'm about to sit down, the door flies open, revealing a resplendent Misha. Drills bobbing from the dramatic entrance and arms stretched out towards the sky. Yahoo! It's all over! It would appear that not everyone is affected by the post-festival depression. The rest of the class glare at her, obviously thinking the same thing I am. Misha, frozen in the doorway with her arms still in the air, nervously looks around. It's obvious that she senses the foul mood, but can't work out exactly what to do. She suddenly jerks forward. Hey. As she stumbles into the classroom, she reveals Shizune, arms still extended from where she shoved Misha. Thanks for the entertainment, but shouldn't you two take your seats? Still slightly embarrassed, Misha takes a few seconds to realize she has to translate. Oh, yeah, Shi-chan, she said she's not happy with you ditching us last week. Damn. We were really busy. Is that so? Well, what about the stuff I already did for the two of you? She says that only counts for council members. Since you declined, she doesn't owe you anything. Misha leans closer and whispers conspiratorially in my ear. Actually, I think she's just a little sore that you didn't spend the day with her. She's really thankful for your work last week, though. Sensing that she's being talked about, Shizune lightly wraps her finger on the desk until Misha turns around to face her. I can't understand any of the fast-paced signing that's going on, but from Shizune's slightly embarrassed expression and Misha's poorly contained laughter, I can guess. While this exchange is happening, the door opens once again, but this time at a much more reasonable pace. Hanako quietly enters the room, now pulls the door closed behind her. Peering out from under her hair, she quickly scans the classroom. Our eyes meet, and she suddenly stiffens. She closes her eyes, takes a deep breath, and then walks over to my desk. Hanako. Good morning, Hisao. Morning, Hanako. You're a little late, aren't you? I was talking to Lily. About today. Ah, so you got a list then? We can leave straight after the classes in that case. This is right in front of Shizune. This is fucked up. Sure. Looking forward to it. Hanako briefly flashes her embarrassed smile and then hurries off to her seat. Oh, they didn't comment? I'm surprised. I'm surprised they weren't like, so you're the delinquent. Fuck yeah. During classes, it becomes apparent that it's not only the students that are a little despondent after the festival. I don't know what that word means. Uto simply gives us a list of exercises from the... I'm assuming it means like hungover. There's a list from exercises in the class, the textbook, then sits behind his desk. I totally forgot about the brief lunch period for a moment. Such is the banality of the day. He is saying weird words now. I remember in the beginning, every word he said was like, yeah, that makes sense. But now he's saying really weird words that I don't understand. I don't know what banality is of the day. It sounds like bland, but I'm not sure. It's mind-numbing, and everyone seems surprised when the bell signals the end of the lessons. As I'm packing up my bag, Shizune and Misha flank and entrap me. Okay, here it is. Say, Chan, still not too late to join up. There's a lot of post-festival paperwork for us to complete. Sorry, Misha, I've got plans. As if sensing the cue, Hanako appears behind me, holding a small bag and trying to avoid eye contact with the outside world. Misha's eyes open wide, and then she bursts into laughter. You move fast, don't you, Hichan? There it is. We won't disturb your date any further. Behind the roaring Misha, I see Shizune taking far too little interest in the scene. Might be taking this the wrong way, but I think she's deliberately ignoring me. I feel a gentle tug on my shirt and see Hanako's eyes fixed firmly on the floor. Let's... Got ya. Shizune, Misha, I'll see you later. And I'm still not interested in the council. Spoil sport. Misha and Shizune retreat into the hallway, happily singing to each other. Got all your stuff? Let's head off. Floods of students pour out of the school gates and onto the road, into town. It's a little weird. It's almost a scene from any other high school, but the illusion fades as the occasional wheelchair or missing limb. That's awkward. One thing I do notice is that nobody's alone. And as Hanako and I pass through the gates, I notice that she still closes the distance between us. Not enough to be considered close, but she certainly isn't at her usual just a little far position. Guess we're not familiar enough to get as close as she does with Lily. However, even though she has moved a little closer to me physically, mentally she seems to have traveled a mile. Her hands clutched around the leather straps of her bag to the point of whitening her knuckles. Jeez. Her head down, her mouth pursed closed. She almost looks as if she's being walked to the principal's office for the first time. Try to make conversation, bud. Just, ease her into it a little. I try to stifle a giggle at the thought, but it's futile. What's the matter? I guess there's no point in hiding it. Sorry, for a second there, it looked like you were getting in trouble. What do you mean? I think you need to relax a little. We're not going too far. It's just students around, right? Right. It bothers me a little to see Hanako so worked up. And you do this every week, don't you? Yes, with Lily. Of course, with Lily. I wonder... God, why does he have to say it like that? I wonder, has she ever felt left to school without her? It doesn't seem like much at first glance, but Hanako's dependence on Lily is absurdly heavy. If she can't even handle leaving the school without her, how would she have managed to survive if the two had never met? Would she have found someone else to latch onto? Probably. Yeah, she's doing kind of similar to you right now. And what drew her to Lily? Lily can't see her scars, but... Was it her lack of eyesight? Okay. Or was Lily kind enough to lend a hand? I'm assuming it's both, but whatever. I wonder if anyone would have fit the bill. Someone who's caring enough is how... Like you are, or you're supposed to be. Well, I'm here. Besides, we're not going that far. It'll be over before you know it. Hanako's knuckles slowly regain their color as she tries to hide a small smile, but the effort of that seems to prevent further conversation. We travel, side by side, down the winding road towards town. The crowd of students thin as we continue along the sidewalk. Faster students rush ahead, and the less mobile ones fall behind, rarefying the crowd into nothingness. By the time we reach the convenience store, we are practically alone. Using me as a shield between herself and the attendant, Hanako moves through the narrow aisles, adding an assortment of items to her basket. Bread, milk, tea, thyme. What kind of convenience store sells herbs? Okay. Then again, nothing about this town seems normal, which may not be a bad thing in retrospect. Everything is so different and uncomfortable. Dwelling on such matters really isn't an option. When I think about that, it reminds me of Hanako. No matter how much you try, you can't escape her scars. They still interrupt my train of thought when I see them. As much as I don't want to admit it to myself, I think I'm forcing myself to try to ignore them. Not that I am scar-free myself. The jagged line down my sternum will never completely fade away. I just have the luxury of being able to hide it easily. But, in a way, both of our scars remind me that we're still in the same place for their reason. I fucked up at the end, but whatever. Hanako throws one last item into her basket, then sheepishly holds it out to me, along with a few banknotes. Could you please? It takes me a second to understand what she's trying to say. Oh, you want me to pay for this? She nods, but doesn't look up. I guess the task falls to Lily on the usual occasions. Sure, just let me grab a couple of things. Hastily, I grab a few essentials for myself and then head to the counter with Hanako in close tow. The attendant gives me an indifferent nod as he scans the items. I suppose just ignoring us is the one way to deal with the anomalies of Yamaku. We get a lot of students here, being the closest to the store to school. The staff must all have their own way with dealing with us. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's only me who thinks twice about my unique schoolmates. I'm sure that everyone does for a little bit. If they don't... But if they live in the town, they know. They know, because they gotta be, everywhere. I don't know. One transaction... almost, you would assume that they almost had, a relative at the school, right? Because, everybody who's living in this really small town is probably like the parents and families of people who go to the school, because like the school's like the biggest thing in the town, right? And like if it's a small town, most people are only there because of the school. So that means like all of the brothers and sisters like who are normal enough to like carry a job probably have siblings that went to that school, or even like people who actually went to that school. You can't see it like his house, so it's probably like a normal thing for everybody there. I don't know. I'm assuming. Our transaction complete, Hanako and I head onto the street. The road is pretty much abandoned now. The students that were heading out have already left. Nobody has started returning just yet. I don't know why I said it like that. And the school ahead on the road doesn't seem to be anyone else around. The emptiness certainly reflects on Hanako. Her arms by her sides, each carrying a bag, her head no longer bowed, and back to the upright position. It's almost as if she were enjoying this walk. So, why all these weird things? Why would you look into her bag? That's creepy. Why all these weird things? Mixed spice? Why would you need that in school? I guess he paid for them. Never mind. He had to like take them out of the thing. Why would you need that in school? I sometimes like to make food. Well, yeah, so do I, but spices? Bro, you ever had good food? It's a little more advanced, don't you think? Not really. Well, I think it's cool. You have to teach me one day. Sure. Shouldn't seem all that sure, but pushing the point doesn't seem all that wise. At the very least, she seems a great deal happier than she did on the walk down here. That alone makes me a little happier. Oh, that's cute. Almost nothing left in my can. Outside the girls' dorm, Hanako and I sort out the grocery bags for our respective purchases. In comparison, my things look positively plain. I tell you, you're putting me to shame here. No, I'm not. I'm joking. I have a stack of homework that I skipped last week, so I must leave now. Be alright getting that to your room? Yeah. Sure? Okay. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. We part ways, and I return to my room. Piles of papers sit on my desk, begging to be completed. With the entire ruckus of last week, I barely had any time to catch up. Tried to keep up with my studies while I was in the hospital, but some of this stuff I've never seen before, even in my old school. Totally unprepared, I popped the top of a can of drink. It's weird to get to work. It's our first nighttime where we're actually like still here. Is that cool? You like that? That day was actually really short. I thought the days would get longer, but whatever. The days were really starting to heat up. This morning I awoke and covered in sweat. By the time the student body leaves their dorms for breakfast and morning duties, the sun has taken full effect. Oddly, that puts me in high spirits. It's not even 8, yet I feel this day is going to be one of those pleasant, tranquil, warm ones. If I weren't at a school that considered every absence from class as a sign of life-threatening situation, I'd consider skipping the whole day and just relaxing in the school gardens. Yes, today will be a genuinely lazy day. For a second, I stopped mid-stretch and considered the nurse's warnings about exercise. Maybe I should have kept up those morning jogs. Running with someone like Emmy might have been a little testing, but if I worked at my own pace... who am I kidding? I couldn't stick to something like that without some kind of motivation. How about your life, bud? Keeping you alive seems like a really good motivation. It's not like I sit around all day. The walk to and from the convenience store counts as exercise, right? Especially the walk back up the hill. Did I mess that up? No. Yeah, it's no big deal. Compared to months lying in a hospital bed, I'm getting plenty exercise. True. Seems that I'm not alone in my appreciation of the day. Nearly every member of class is glancing at the window, to the tantalizing sky. Even the steadfast Shizune seems to lack her usual vigor for schoolwork. Misha, as brazen as ever, has even unbuttoned the top buttons of her shirt and is fanning herself with a notebook. I must have been staring, and now she's sticking her tongue out at me. However, she shows no signs of halting her efforts, nor is she trying to hide the fact. The lunch bells seem to catch everyone by surprise. The class empties at a much slower pace than usual. The heat seems to be draining the need to rush from everyone. Well, almost everyone. Hisao? Hey there, Hanako. What can I do for you today? It's weird to say that. Hanako is already a lunch bag in hand. I don't have to be a detective to work out where this is going. That's right. Would you like to have lunch with us again? I brought food for everyone. What if I was like, no, I don't care about your extra food. I just left. Like, I mean, that's awesome. You have to be so stiff about it, though. Alright, you can be nicer, Hisao. Right. I take it we're going to the tea room? Please? She's so upset now, bro. You fucked it up. Lily said she'll meet us there, so we should should go ahead together. Sounds like a plan. The seed has made me pretty hungry. Hanako breathes a sigh of relief as I gather my things together. As the aura of the tea room is refreshing, feeling isolated from the rest of the world. Then again, the usual din of school seems to be a bit subdued, most likely from the laziness promoted by heat exhaustion. Hanako slowly spreads her food on the table, intently focusing on every little movement, as if she's trying to keep her mind off other thoughts. It's not much, but I can tell from her demeanor that she has prepared everything with the utmost care. I guess Lily isn't here yet. Should we start off without her? She'll be here soon. Hanako struggles with the lid of the container of rice. Here, let me help with that. I take the container from Hanako's hands and try to force open the lid. Try as I might, it's wedged shut. Let me guess, did you put this while the rice was still hot? Yes, I was in a rush. I put the container on the table between us. I thought so. It's a little wedged shut. We need some hot water to get it open. But that could be a pain here. We get water everywhere. Well, in that case, how about I contribute to today's meal? At the door, Lily smiles while holding up a bag stocked with various buns and bread rolls. Can't help but do the same. Since you two had a change of plans because of me, I thought I would bring a little something. Thanks, Lily. Here, let me get that for you. With a little guidance, Lily's bread assortment joins Hanako's riceless platter. I hastily make some tea, and to complete the picture. Well, I'm looking forward to this. That's weird if you'd say that every lunch period. Like, if we have lunch every day, and every day you're just like, wow, I'm looking forward to this. I think it's weird. As I take a bite, I notice Hanako is trying her hardest not to look as she is looking at me. Though it looks like she's looking at me. It's nothing special, but again, I can't really complain. I'm pretty lazy when it comes to cooking for myself. Not bad. I guess this is made with the stuff that you bought yesterday? Yes. Hanako's eyes shout at me, begging for some kind of feedback. Well, it was clearly worth it. Thanks, Hanako. I wanted to show you this after yesterday. It's okay. I was just a little surprised at the stuff you were buying. Hanako's always liked to experiment when it comes to food. I think it's good. Most of the time. When Lily's smile doesn't waver, the slight change in her tone tells me that some things have not gone so well in the past. It's not like Hanako is making people to sample her cooking. Hang on, was Lily waiting for me to go first? She didn't start eating until after I said it was alright. Her cheeky grin tells me that this was a deliberate action on her part. I'll have to try and work out how to get one over on her in the future to make up for this. Well, it's good. And that counts, right? Right. Lily, satisfied at not being the first to sample Hanako's creation, begins to consume the food in front of her. I find myself staring as I watch her chopsticks gently touch the plate, their tips delicately poking and tracing to quickly... I thought it said lips. Their tips delicately poking and tracing to quickly ascertain the positions of food as she dexterously picks it up. This is a fucking comprehensions test, bro. Like, the way... Not reading comprehension. That's like how you understand the reading. What is it? Is it just reading aloud? Like, I don't know what the tests for that's called. One might think she were a child playing with her food, if not for the situation. Though she does do it with such care and thoughtfulness that it's obviously this is simply how she eats this kind of meal. Not wanting to miss out, I start filling up myself. Hanako takes a different approach, waiting until Lily and I have our hands clear before quickly snatching up her share. Before long, the containers are empty, save for the still shut rice container. Thank you, Hanako. That was filling. No, thank you for the bread. Yes, it would have been a disaster if not for that. You're both welcome. But now I must be getting back. It's far too easy to be late after eating here. Yeah, I see what you mean. I think we'll just clean up here, then head off. Well then, good day. Lily leaves her cane, tapping away quietly down the hallway. Hanako and I quickly pack up our things and stay seated, waiting for the bell. Together we stare out the window into an endless azure sky. If it weren't for the pealing of bells, I would have sworn the time had stopped. The urge to skip class raises in my gut. I shout a glance at Hanako, who shows no signs of moving either. Not just yet. Oh. The interval between the warning bells and the end of lunch bells passes in a blink of an eye. We should really go. People will freak out and start a search party if we skip. Hanako sighs. You're right. So I wonder if she does that every day. Like that she's late, you know? Like if she's just sitting at the window. I thought it was because she was helping Lily at class. But I get this is like a cuter version of that, I guess. Slowly she rises to her feet and I follow suit. Silently we make our way to the old stairs and 3rd floor, then to our classroom. At the door I take point and open the door ahead of Hanako, bowing my head down in apology in advance. Sorry we're late, teacher. Okay, you didn't have to do that, because Hanako never does that, and last time you did it you didn't say anything, and he didn't say anything because he saw Hanako with you, whatever. I'm greeted not by stern words, nor by an angered instruction to take my seat, but simply the silence created by 15 or so students trying not to laugh. Muto, ever tardy, has yet to arrive. Okay, that's even weirder. However, the fact that Hanako and I have arrived together is blatantly obvious. Make that about 14 students trying and 1 student failing. The lovers return. God, what a bitch. Yeah, thanks. You can calm down now. I step through the door and realize that Hanako is firmly pressed against my back, hiding herself from the class. Oh, she's close now, bud. With my steps coming closer to my desk, she eventually breaks from me and stiffly walks to her own. Her efforts to mentally block everyone's presence from her mind are written fairly clearly on her face. Quickly checking the door for any signs of the teacher's arrival, I make a trip to Hanako's desk and whisper in her ear. Hey, don't worry about Misha. She's always like this. I enjoyed myself today. Don't sweat it, okay? Hanako nods her head behind her folded arms, but still doesn't show her face. I yearn to say and console her more, but Muto picks up the exact moment to enter the class, halfway through his lecture as if he had started it in the hallway. Which, of course, is directly proportional to the charge, but inversely proportionally to the square of the distance. What? He's so engrossed in his speech that he doesn't even notice me sneaking back to my seat from Hanako's desk. While Muto's spiel rambles on, Misha leans over to me. The teacher may not have noticed your tardiness, but I did. That much is obvious from the show you just put on. I have been instructed to let you off the hook for today, but only on one condition. Oh, and that would be? You have to help us this afternoon. I crane my neck to look over Misha's shoulder. Shizune is conveniently not making eye contact with me. Fine, just for today. I've already told you I'm not joining the council, remember? Of course, doing so would be considered... She looks down at her notebook, obviously looking for her place in her script. Under duress, and hence would be against regulations. How very strange for you to be considerate of the regulations now. Things should be done by the book. It's just that the book hasn't been written for every situation, so there are times when it can be ignored. And yet, the two of you wonder why no one else wants to be part of the student council. Damn. After poking her tongue out at me, Misha returns to her workbook, and we battle our way through the latter half of the school day. Ooh. Before I can even stand up, Misha and Shizune have placed their hands both on my shoulders. Hey, I said I'd help out. Damn. This is just insurance, Hisao. Insurance. Hisao? Hanako timidly tries to leave the room by circling around us, and I suddenly realize that this may be my one chance to escape. Oh, hey, Hanako. What's up? Hey, what do you think? What makes you think you got time to chat? Relax, this won't take too long. Sorry, Hanako, you were saying? I was going to the library and I thought... Hanako thumbs dance around each other as her eyes fit around the room, looking everywhere but at us. Sorry, Hanako, but Hisao has to come with us. He's got work to do. That feels so bad. Oh, but you can help too if you'd like. So how about it, Hisao? Ooh. Ah, shit. I didn't know we were making decisions already. I don't know. Because now, okay, before we were like, yeah, well, these decisions don't really matter. Because, like, we'll end up with whoever we end up with. But now it's like, we gotta be going for the good ending. What do you think, Hanako? Seems like a nice, but like forcing her into a situation, but it also might be like helping her get a little closer. Saying I've done enough work for the council already is kind of fucked up, and I don't think Misha and Shizune will like it, but I don't think that matters. Right? I don't know if every decision factors into being the good ending or not, like if they have points or something, or if it's literally like a specific tree you have to get. So I'm actually really scared of this decision because I want to say, what do you think, Hanako? Because that's like inviting her and maybe she'll like it. She'll like being a part of the fun. But I don't think she'll like it. Is the thing. I don't think she's gonna. And saying this is like good because I want to hang out with Hanako. I'm just gonna say it. I've done enough work for the council. Hey, Shizune, I know I said I'd help, but I forgot I had already made plans. Besides, I helped out more than my fair share last week, didn't I? I promise I'll make it up to you some other time. She's pissed. Shizune and Misha release their grip on me and have a long, deep, and silent conversation. Well, you have a point there. To be honest, we were only going to spend the rest of the budget on cakes. So if you're not there, it works out better. More cake for us. Shizune about faces and marches out the door. Misha skips after her. Well, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Last week, those two were like bloodhounds, or prison guards. You prison guards bred from bloodhounds. I can't believe I just thought that, let alone saying it out loud. I think I need to move away from Kenji. Never mind. Anyway, should we go to the library? Sure. I hope she liked that. I can't tell. I feel really bad. I mean, I guess if we were just gonna have cake, then fucking it's better this way. Hanako follows me through the still crowded halls to the library, using me as a shield. As soon as we're through the door, Hanako bolts from the counter, where Yuko is stacking books. Before I can catch up, Hanako's whispered something to her. You'd find that in nonfiction. I don't know where, exactly. If you want, I can look it up. Never mind. Hey, Yuko, what's this all about? Oh, Hisao, Hanako was just looking for a book on... nothing. Book on nothing? In the nonfiction section? I was just... I shoot a glance at Yuko, who looks like she's about to burst from the pressure of keeping Hanako's request secret. Yuko, don't worry about it, Hisao. She's keeping it a secret on purpose. Chess. She's looking for a chess book. I'd make a mental note to never entrust Yuko with any important information. Yuko? I'm sorry, Hanako. It just slipped out. Well, it's not a secret anymore. Come on, I'll give you a hand. I should really brush up on my skills, too. Okay. Her, like, plain face with her frown makes me feel so sad. She looks so, like, upset for no reason. I think it's just her face, but, man. Yuko disappears behind the counter in shame as Hanako and I wander the depths of the nonfiction section. I know there's supposed to be a system for categorizing these books, but I don't see how anyone could decipher it without spending half of their life researching it. The Dewey Decimal System? I have no idea. I don't know how it works. Is that what it is? That's probably why all librarians I know are neurotic. Towards the end of the aisle, between the books on card tricks and some of the kids' games, stands a single book bearing the title Chess Tactics for Champions. Before I can reach for it, Hanako has the book in her hands, clutching it to her chest. Well, I guess that's yours then. Mind if I borrow it when you're finished? Sure. I just haven't really played against anyone but Lily before, so I thought... Damn. Looks like It's not like I was trying to beat Hanako deliberately or anything, but she seems to have taken it to heart. Then again, at least this means she wants to play with me again. That's a plus, right? Well, it's not like I'm a master or anything. I've just played a bit before. It occurs to me that I haven't told Hanako about my condition. I falter for a second, deciding to cover my tracks. It's a conversation for another day. Where did that come up? Just played a bit before? That's a plot. What? Why did he bring that up? Before I came here. Okay. Are you alright? Yeah, I was remembering something. When I think about it, I shouldn't be afraid to tell Hanako about my condition and my time in the hospital. Judging by her scars, she's probably spent a fair amount of time in a hospital bed. But for some reason, I can't bring it up. At least not today. Not on short notice. Eager to break off this conversation, I grab a random book from the shelf. It's some book on the world's fastest roller coasters. Published in 1982. Well, it's not very up to date. At least it should be interesting. We both got books now. Should we go sit down? Hanako seems to accept my bluff. What was the bluff? Did you think she was going to say, no, let's not sit down? What? We head for the reading nook in the back of the library. Neither of us says a word. We simply open our books and start reading. I try to read my book, but it would seem that in the 1982 roller coasters weren't nearly as large as the ones built in the decades since. Most of the ones listed are made of wood, something that doesn't seem safe to me. Yeah. If I'm going to ride on something potentially dangerous, I'd want it to be made out of steel or some kind of space-age alloy with the words like titanium and ruthenium. I quickly lose interest and my eyes wander across the reading area to rest on Hanako. God. Hanako seems absorbed in her book, flicking back and forth through the pages as if she was confirming what she just read. What if that's actually effective, or if she's just overloading herself? She unconsciously brushes her hair from her face, temporarily revealing the scar tissue. I'm still not sure about the protocol here. Is it alright to ask her about her scars? Or her past? How long was she in the hospital? Does she still have to visit the doctor? These all seem like questions you'd ask someone who just transferred to your school, translated in your local language. But to date, no one has directly asked me any of them, except Rin. I don't think I should use her as a guide for proper social behavior. For the time being, I'll just keep my mouth shut. If someone wants to know something, they'll tell you. Trying to force the issue might drive Hanako back into herself. True, but... I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to close the library now. Already? Check my watch. Somehow I was lost in thought. Nearly 2 hours have passed. Do you want to check out those books? I could do it on my way out. Please? She's so short with that. I'm done. I'll drop this one back on the way through. It wasn't interesting as I first thought. Hanako marks her place with a slip of paper and stands up. The girls head to the counter and I return my book to what I think is the right shelf. Yuko scans Hanako's book with a practiced precision, yet still manages to fumble it. Oh, there we go. Third time. Lucky. Since this is a non-fiction book, you can only have it for a week. Is that a thing? What? That's okay. Whoa. Yuko shuts down the library's computer and herds us out of the door. I didn't think it was this late already. But you're the one who told us she had to close. Yes, but I know, but that was before I looked at the time. I'll see you later. Yuko bolts down the hall, her handbag trailing behind her like an awkward streamer. I guess all the librarians really are neurotic. Huh? Never mind. I was just thinking I've never met a librarian that can organize their time, no matter how good they are with their books. Oh, I know what you mean. Hanako smiles in amusement. It wasn't meant to be a joke, but I have reminded of her of some other librarian or something. I have to get back. Yeah, me too. I didn't realize it was this late. Thanks for letting me hang out with you. No problem. I'm going to my dorm now, anyway, so do you mind if I tag along? Okay. Hanako sets off ahead of me. I need to jog a little to reach her side. We walk through the gardens, eventually arriving in front of the dorm buildings. Man, you walk pretty fast. I used to be playing a soccer club, and you managed to outpace me. I kind of regret saying that, as it has less to do with her pace and more with the fact that my condition has significantly worsened my fitness. Hanako's reaction is odd. I expected an awkward attempt to downplay her walking speed, but she just blushes while looking at her feet and smiling. Silence hangs in the air between us. That often happens around Hanako. But it feels slightly different than usual this time. After a few seconds, I try to break the silence. Here you go. See you in class tomorrow? Sure. Hanako waves a short goodbye before pushing her way through the dorm's doors. I stand and look at them before making my way up to my own dormitory room.